Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Welcome, welcome to today's stream. Welcome, welcome. Today, we are going to be continuing my playthrough of Chapter 1 of Higurashi no Nakokorani, Onikakushi. Last time, we stopped like right at the beginning of a scene because I knew that it was going to be a longer scene and my voice was getting really tired. So we're finally going to be continuing that scene today. I'm not sure how long today's stream is going to be because my throat hurts a little bit this morning. Like, I'm okay, don't worry, don't worry. But, you know, just to be gentle to my voice, this might be a shorter stream. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I'm still quite excited to get into it. We're getting into another one of my favorite scenes in the first arc of Higurashi, so let's check and go. I just want to dive right in. Let me get the game open really quick. Let's see, let's see. Oh, why is it so big? Keep smaller. Okay. Alright. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Let me know if I have to adjust anything, but this should be just right. As you can see, we are in like the beginning of a scene, not actually like at the end of a chapter. Let's continue. The phone rang noisily downstairs. Generally, there were no calls from me, so I never really answered the phone much. But since my parents weren't here, I had no choice. I squirmed off the bed and went downstairs. Hello, welcome to the stream, welcome, welcome. Aw, heck. Why is your mom calling? I intuitively had a bad feeling about this. It was because I thought she was going to ask me to go out and buy some things. So I took the initiative. The other day we went out as a family and bought a whole case of cup noodles. I wanted to get a bunch of different kinds actually, but they refused since the individual packs were expensive. So instead I got a whole case of the mega-sized pork bone and ginger-flavored ones I liked. But my parents don't like strong flavors and didn't touch any of them, so the cupboards were still full of them. Keiichi, 買い物のお願いじゃないの。お父さんとお母さんね、お仕事の関係で急遽東京に行かなくちゃならなくなったの。Oh no. They're leaving. You're all alone. This was really abrupt. They left without even telling them? That's crazy. I would be so upset. If I were Keiichi, I'd be so upset. Like, what do you mean you went all the way to Tokyo and didn't tell me until just now? It's quite a distance from Tokyo. To Tokyo from Hinamizawa. Gunning at full speed down the highway would still take 6 hours. Dad has a license, but since he doesn't like the highway, they likely took the train. It would have taken longer. お父さんとお母さんの話を聞いてたからわかるかもしれないけど、お父さんのお仕事の契約がね、今ちょっとうまくいってないの。Now that he mentioned it, I did remember that they talked all the time about how his job prospects weren't looking so good. お父さんはそういうのに繊細な人だから、このままだとお仕事にも影響が出ちゃうの。Part of my father's particular fragile artistic personality, his emotions changed as easily as the falling sky. You You could also just say he couldn't take criticism.
でもそんなの電話でやり取りすればいいじゃないか。
ケイチ、お父さんのお仕事なんだから、もうちょっと応援してあげて。
To be fair, in Keiichi's defense, he's like 14 years old, you know, he's just a little guy, and you're just like, oh yeah, we left, we're like really far away now, and we didn't tell you until after we were already really far away. Like, Keiichi is just a little guy and is clearly going through something right now. You don't know what it is he's going through, but he's going through something.
とにかく電話よりも直接会って話した方が早いの。
Faster.
誤解もないし。
As their son, there was nothing more I could say once they started talking about work.
だから帰るのは明日の晩になっちゃうの。ケイチ、一人で大丈夫よね。
Surely you'll be fine on your own, right, Keiichi? You're not gonna, like, die or anything, right?
別に死にゃしないよ。
ケイチ、死んじゃうなんて軽々しく言っちゃダメよ。心配事があったら相談してね。母さん、きっと相談に乗れると思うから。
Yesterday I did bring up if I died rather abruptly, so I suppose they were a little worried. But really, I was more depressed by the fact that nothing would be solved by telling them. But I didn't plan on dying. At least not while I still knew nothing. I would never allow it.
死なないよ。俺はあがいてでも生き延びる。
What a thing to just tell your mom over the phone after she is far away and can't do anything to help you right now. It's like, oh yeah, it's okay, Mom, I won't die. Even if I'll knock my own leg off, I'll probably be fine.
そう。じゃあね。明日の朝、ちゃんと起きるのよ。朝ごはんは食べてね。お風呂と歯磨きも忘れないのよ。
へいへい。そんじゃ。
The call ended like that. Sometimes my parents went off to Tokyo for business meetings. But Tokyo was far away. They normally did things by phone. And times they did go were normally planned out in advance. It never happened this suddenly. I couldn't say that those circumstances didn't feel strange, or rather, unnatural. Anyway, I only needed to recognize the reality of the situation. That tonight, I was the only one in the house. That when my parents came back from work, I'd be gone. Missing. Vanished. Looking back on the series of events of the previous 5 years involving Oyashiro-sama's curse, it wouldn't seem that strange at all. Come to think of it, it was getting pretty late. I didn't think it was good that the only light on in the whole house was from my room on the second floor. It was the same as broadcasting to the enemy that my parents were gone and this was their chance. First I ran to the living room, flipped on the lights, and turned the TV on to a reassuring volume. Next was the study. I similarly turned on the lights and some music. With this, from the outside it would look like my parents were here. Once again, I went through the house, checking to see if there was anything left unlocked. When I saw the veranda and the laundry still hanging out there, I went pale. That would have made it too obvious. I needed to take it down. I snatched down the laundry haphazardly and erased all traces that my mother wasn't there. It should be fine now. Ah, the garage. They hadn't gone all the way to Tokyo by car, but they had gone up to Okinomiya Station. The garage was empty, wide open, and in plain sight. This was not good. I panicked and rushed out the back to close the normally open garage door. It should be fine now. Oh, I need to get the paper. Mom always got the paper. Since they left in the afternoons, evening paper was still out there. This was so stressful. My premonition was correct. I pulled out everything from the mailbox and dropped it in the entryway. With this, For sure this time. It should be fine. Come to think of it, leaving a cupboard busted like that for my little freakout was kind of bad. Honestly, I tripped and fell, and the bat I was holding smashed into it. Even so, just leaving it in its current state wasn't good. I said clean it up a little before Mom got back and scolded me. But there was a broom and a dustpan in the closet. As I was going to go get them, the phone rang once again.
もしもし、前原です。
あら、ケイイチくん、お母様はいらっしゃいますか？
Let's go.
今ちょっといないんですけど。
You idiot, Keiichi Mayabara. Don't reveal that your parents are gone. Could follow up still. Calm down and take care of it.
すぐに戻ると思います。
That wasn't a good response either. Now they might say they'll call again, or tell her to call them once he comes back.
なら、結構です。大した話でもありませんから。では、失礼しますね。
The scenario I feared didn't play out, eliciting a sigh of relief. That call was fortunate in more ways than one. I'd have to deal with any telephone calls coming in from my parents tonight. I was somehow able to deal with the phone call just now, but I couldn't continue to rely on such poor improvisation. I needed to make up a good story to explain that my parents were home but couldn't answer the phone at the moment. They were making tempura and couldn't step away right now. That wasn't good enough. They were sick and went to bed because they weren't feeling well. Was that going to be safe enough? I was thinking about it on the way back to my room when the phone rang once again. My god, I would die with this much phone calls happening all at once. So hello, welcome to stream, welcome. It's like they were calling because they knew I was going to lie. I didn't want to pick up, but I knew I had to. They'd suspect my parents weren't here. I should have just taken the phone off the hook under the pretense that I didn't realize it was. Since the phone rang, I had to pick it up. I prepared myself and lifted up the receiver.
もしもし。
I stopped announcing this was the Mayabara residence. I had no reason to be kind to someone I didn't know the identity of. But unlike my uncouth voice, the person on the other side sounded goofy and lighthearted. Oh man, it's him. The bookstore guy.
大石さんですか。
前原さんですか。こんばんは。お元気そうで何よりです。
ちょっと待ってくださいね。
I grabbed a portable handset and rushed up my room with it. It was the same no matter where I was since there was no one else home, but I wanted to be in a spot that felt just a bit safer when speaking on the phone with Oishi-san.
お待たせしました。
いかがですか、その後お変わりは。
Well, so many things have changed, Oishi. You have no idea. You have no idea. Since when? Since then? When was that exactly? There was something about the brazen way he talked that rubbed me the wrong way. The last time I spoke with Oishi-san was 2 days ago. The day I stayed home from school, I met Oishi-san on the way back from the hospital, and we headed into town for lunch and had a talk. Then after that, Rena and Mion came up to check on me. Whenever I spoke with Oishi-san, they always knew about it. It was like that since the first time I met him. Today's phone call may well be found out by them as well.
もしもし、聞こえてますか、前原さん。
すみません。なんて言いました？
その後、何か変わったことはありませんかとお尋ねしたんです。お返事がないんで焦りましたよ。
特には。
The words stopped in my throat. There was a ton of stuff that happened. Hi, sorry, I'm trying to focus a little bit on the reading of the visual novel. I'm sorry for not being super responsive to chat. I'm doing my best. I just find it a little bit hard to focus on chat and the visual novel simultaneously. But I hope you are doing well. Also, hello, welcome, welcome. To answer your question, why pink? Because why not pink? There was a ton of stuff that happened, all of it baffling. What should I talk about? I didn't understand any of it, but I should try asking. If I didn't ask now, I may never have another chance. Tonight, when my parents weren't home, I had no guarantees I would make it through the night safely after all.
その大石さん、やっぱり俺命を狙われているみたいです。
Actually, to extra answer your question of why pink, would you like to be a different color? Because I have... Oops. Cyan. I have a cyan bite. I have yellow. I have gray. Which would you prefer? I can change the little guy on my head to whatever color you prefer. I had it magenta because of the Otome game stream I was doing yesterday. But if we can do a different color. I feel like the gray fits the mood of the game right now. Do you guys agree? You have the little gray bite. If you want. Yeah, I like the magenta one, but it kind of feels like it blends into my hair a little bit. And it's so similar, kind of, to my hair. The gray one's cute. And you can see the cheeks a little bit better. Yeah. Actually, no, you can see the cheeks better in this one. Now I'm overthinking my bite designs. I'll keep the gray one for now. Choice to the dealer and let's go. We'll have the gray bite for now. Yeah, please. Oh yeah. There's someone after Keiichi.
偶然の可能性もあるんですが、先日俺が病気で休んだ日、夕方にあの二人がお見舞いに来たんです。
あの二人？
レナとミオンです。
Oh man.
そしてそこで大石さんと一緒に昼飯を食ったことを正されました。
それで
お見舞いってことでおはぎを置いていったんですが、その中に針が入ってたんです。偶然飲み込まずに済みましたが、これってやっぱり脅迫でしょうか？
その針は？
よく見かけるような普通の裁縫針のようでした。糸を通す穴が開いていて。違
いますよ、前原さん。針です。証拠になります。脅迫だと立証できるかもしれません。その針はありますか？
That's right. That's it. I dropped the receiver and rushed downstairs. When I tossed the mochi, I had overlooked it out of terror. But that needle was a valuable piece of evidence. Let's see. I threw the mochi and the needle at the wall together. If it was there, it would be on the living room wall. But my prudent mother had cleaned that living room wall. There was no trace of mochi left on it. Could it be that it dropped in the gap between the wall and the carpet? I frantically searched by running my palm along the carpet, but nothing turned up. I tried moving around the sofa and desks, pulling up the carpet, then flapping it around. But I couldn't find the needle. Did my mom clean up everything without noticing it? It was just 2 days ago. I don't know what day they collected the burnable trash, but it may still be in a trash bin in the kitchen. I rushed into the kitchen, opened up the lid of the pail, and poured out the contents. But even at a glance, I could tell that it would be incredibly difficult to find the needle in this pile of trash. I was looking for a needle in a trash stack. I know, I'll try running my hand through it. It was a bit gross, but I was looking for a needle. If I felt a small prick, I'd be able to find it. It was a pretty tactless method, but it was the quickest. I held my breath and started striking the pile of trash with my hand. Delightful. I love digging through a full can of trash. Filth flew about. There's nothing more disgusting than this, but that was not a time to be concerned about such details. I continued on for a while, but nothing turned up. I wanted to search more thoroughly, but I was still on the phone. I shouldn't keep Oishi-san waiting for too long. Later, when Mom got back, I'd have to ask her if there was a needle. I hastily began scribbling on a notepad affixed to the refrigerator with a magnet. Was there a needle? That's totally not ominous. I scrawled the words with a red pen. I then dashed back up the stairs where I'd been keeping Oishi-san waiting for far too long.
もしもし、どうでしたか？
見つかりません。あの時はつい気が動転していて。
そうですか。見つかればでいいんです。保管しておいてくださいね。
That's right. The needle wasn't the only incident. Sorry, I'm finishing my breakfast. Okay. That's right, the needle wasn't the only incident. I had to tell him about this morning with the hit and run.
あと大石さん、それだけじゃないんです。実は今朝。
That van was definitely aiming for me. I can say that without question due to the circumstances at the time.
その車のナンバープレートは見ましたか？こちらでも探してみます。
Damn. At the time I just flipped out yelling at him, but I didn't look at the plate. What failures on my part with the needle and the plate number? I was so focused on protecting myself, but I let some of the most important details slip out of my grasp. I punched my pillow, annoyed at how worthless I was.
すみません。白いワゴン車ってこと以外はわかりません。
仕方ないことですよ、前原さん。惹かれかければ気も動転します。
やっぱりこれだって偶然じゃないですよね。
Oishi-san started to hem and haw over the other end. I could imagine him folding his
あ
arms.
とレナの様子もやっぱり
それはどんな感じですか？
Or Anna said on the way home today, asking why it was so much like Satoshi-kun. Now I could say it was confidence. That Rena knew what happened to Satoshi. She knew there was more to it than him simply disappearing.
レナは知っています。去年の鬼隠しにあったサトシのことを何か知っています。
それは具体的にどういうことですか？
レナが言うには、俺はサトシとそっくりらしいんです。このまま行くと、俺もサトシと同じ運命をたどると、そんな感じのことを言うんです。
運命ですか？具体的にどんな運命をたどるか言及しましたか？
天候と。
天候？
レナは、サトシは転校したって言ってるんです。で、俺もこのままだと転校しちゃうぞって。
It's always so funny to me. The random words that you end up like learning from anime and stuff. I learned the word tenko from higurashi. If they use it so much in this arc, in chapter 1, so I'm just like, ah yes. Transfer. If I ever need to talk to someone about transferring, I can thank Rena. Rena taught me. Oishi-san let out a stern sigh and then grumbled loudly.
前原さん、それはおそらく何かの脅迫、もしくは警告ですね。
俺もそう思ってます。
At that point, I started to think. Would it be prudent to sum up everything that had happened up until now as the machinations of some human perpetrator? Other than the theory of it being Rena and the others, left with Oyashiro-sama's curse actually existing as the only explanation. Of course, I couldn't tell that to Oishi-san. Except Rena's strange behavior could be point of either scenarios. Whether it was Oyashiro-sama's curse being real, or everything being part of a conspiracy committed by all of the villagers. Rena was involved. That means you can transfer money to your bank in Japan. Let's go. Rena had to know something. Rena was suspicious. What exactly was Rena? I couldn't help but think she was somehow involved with the prior string of mysterious deaths. I seem to recall that Oishi-san had admitted that he had dug into Rena's past a little. He was probably just downplaying it when he said a little. I mean, he had actually dug pretty deep, most likely. I wanted to hear about Rena. I wanted to know what happened at her previous school, among other things that were still unknown to me. If Rena was somebody I should suspect, no, not that. I wanted to know the truth. Tonight I was alone in this huge house. Even though I said I couldn't count on them, I had lost the security I felt I had just by my parents being around. It wasn't like this house was some sort of fortress or castle. If a malicious person decided to use brute force, they'd easily gain entry. There were no other residences close to the Mayabara residence. No one would be able to hear anything, no matter how loud it was. I had never felt as much resentment towards my father's artistic temperament, and the fact that he had his house built in such a remote location as I did right now. Uh-oh. I wondered if I would still be here by tomorrow morning. So I had to ask, right now. So I had no idea when the next chance would come.
大石さん、聞きたいことがあるんです。隠さないでくださいね。
ええ、何でも聞いてください。
Even though he was so far away on the other end of the line, it was the most reliable he had ever felt. I wanted to ask. About Rena. About what happened at her previous school.
実はレナの
Uh-oh. I noticed the sound has been going on for a while now. Since I was so focused on the call, I hadn't paid attention to it at first. But I finally realized it was the doorbell. The time was 7 o'clock. It was past the time the postman would be making a delivery, and past any sensible time for a neighbor to be visiting. I considered just acting like nobody was home, but that wouldn't be good. That would ruin all of the work I put in making it look like my parents were home. I need to answer the door.
もしもし、前原さん。
あ、すみません。誰か来たみたいですので、ちょっと玄関に行ってきます。
お客さんですか。すみません、すみません。今夜のお電話はこれくらいにしましょうか。
That would be a problem.
あ、いえ、すぐ戻りますから。電話はこのままでいいですか？
はいはい、構いませんよ。
I dropped the handset on my bed and dashed down to the door. I needed to make up a good excuse to get them to leave. I had a hunch it was the lady who called right before Oishi-san did. In which case it would be one of the neighbors whose friends was my mom. I'll just say Mom isn't feeling well, went to bed early. That would be the easiest option. It'd be hard for her to ask me to wake my mom up if she's not feeling well. The bell continued to ring at regular intervals. If someone didn't answer after you rang the bell so much, you'd normally give up and go home, wouldn't you? Without removing the chain, I opened the door slightly and peered out at the visitor. A chill ran down my spine. Oh man, who do you think it is, guys? I knew it. Somewhere deep inside, I had prepared for this moment. I had tried to escape by imagining it was the easiest person to deal with, one of my mom's friends.
こんばんは。
レナ。
There shouldn't be any reason for Rena to come over at this hour. The timing also made me feel uneasy. It was just as I was about to ask Oishi-san about Rena. I wish I could have chalked this up to mere coincidence. Those unsettling words from Mion several days ago echoed back to me.
さーてね。おじさんにわからないことはないからね。
レナ一人。
Seems that Mion wasn't with her. But that didn't change the situation at all.
何しに来たんだよ。
ねえ、ケイチ君。ちゃんとドアを開けてお話ししたいな。レナは玄関に入っちゃダメなのかなかな。
It was true that speaking through a chain door wasn't the right way to talk to a classmate. But
うち夜は必ずチェーンかけてるんだよ。気にすんなよ。
なら仕方ないかな。
Rena looked at the ground sadly. But she kept smiling at least, and her effort to keep that smile up was quite pitiful. Even though she was tugging at my heartstrings, I didn't lower my guard. As long as I stayed like this, even if it made my heart ache, my life wasn't in danger. What I really feared, more than the possibility that hoodlums would assault me if I removed the chain, was trusting Rena enough to remove the chain, and having my friendship betrayed. So long as the chain wasn't unlatched, even if it made my heart ache, I wouldn't have to deal with being betrayed by Rena. Because it didn't seem like I had removed the chain from her silent urging, she appeared to give up on trying to get into the entranceway.
あのさ、ケイチ君。ご飯食べた？
No, I haven't eaten. Since my mom wasn't here, dinner wouldn't be ready no matter how long I waited. I lay down when I got home, was woken up by the phone. Didn't have a chance to eat since I used up all that time talking. I was going to have cup noodles in any case. I could just eat one whenever I wanted to.
いや、まだだよ。それがどうしたよ。
じゃあよかった。これ見て。お惣菜とか持ってきてあげたの。
Rena held out a stack of boxes wrapped in a cloth.
お台所とか貸してくれれば、お味噌汁も温めてあげられるよ。
いいよ、そこまでしてくれなくても。
でも、お豆腐もお野菜もたっぷりなの。ケイチ君、そういうの嫌いかな？かな。
There's no way I wouldn't like that. I love miso soup with lots of ingredients. White radish, carrots, burdock root and potatoes, dense and fibrous root vegetables. Yeah, that miso soup looks incredible.
ご飯も持ってきてあげたから、レンジで温めればすぐ食べられるし。
Without a doubt, rice needs miso soup. Stuffing rice down your gullet, sipping miso soup in between ravenous bites. Oh yes, how wonderful it is to be born Japanese.
それからね、またお漬物を作ってきたんだよ。
Oh my gosh, more pickles.
今度は
Let's
山菜の漬物
go.
なの。
Before I had moved here to Hinamizawa, I scoffed at the mountain vegetables called sansai. I was captivated by their charm the first time I tried them. Such a deep yet light flavor. Those so-called supermarket vegetables taste rough and overpowering in comparison. If you had to describe them, then they were the vegetables for the uninitiated. To become an expert such as myself, first I had to partake of sansai. It was common knowledge around here that the Ryugu family's traditional pickles were wonderfully delicious. No matter what kind of pickles they were. They'd go so well with that fluffy white rice.
それからね、それからね。
Oh wait, there's more. Oh my gosh, so much food. So delicious, it seemed so delicious. Farewell to my unhealthy self who said he'd make do with cup noodles. Rena appeared to be in good spirits, and she was offering such a delicious-sounding dinner. The stress evaporated from my gut, and hunger reared its voracious head. At the same time, my wariness of Rena suddenly dwindled. Rena did say she was alone. It shouldn't be a problem letting her inside. But the possibility that it was Lisa's poison still hadn't been ruled out. At that moment, a cold chill ran down my spine once again. I couldn't understand why such a sensation had occurred just then, but the voice inside me was sounding the alarm. Miss Happy Rena, speaking of this charming dinner, was dependent on one premise. And that premise was that tonight dinner hadn't been made at my house. Meaning it was under the assumption that my mom, who should be making it, wasn't here. At any normal household, 7 o'clock would be around the middle of dinner time. If my mom was here, we'd be eating dinner around this time as well. The fact she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time, The fact she brought over all the makings of a meal at this time was inherently strange. Unless she knew. Rena, did she know my parents were at home? But there was also the chance this was a bluff. I had turned off the lights and a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like my parents were here. There was a chance that Rena was unsure if my parents were home. But I had to wonder. The laundry, the garage, the evening paper. There were plenty of signs of them being hastily tidied up. It was hard to say that Rena didn't have a chance to determine if my parents were here or not. But there was no reason for me to confess that right now. I should try holding on to that fact for as long as I could. First of all, the chain was still latched. So long as I didn't take it off, Rena wouldn't be able to do anything to me.
ありがたいんだけどさ、もう少しで夕飯ができるみたいなんだよ。
え、そうなの？そうなの？
せっかくで申し訳ないんだけどさ、その。
Unable to think of a good way to refuse, my words trailed off weakly.
でも、ちょっとはおかずになると思うな。
悪いけど間に合ってるよ。うちのおふくろってさ、結構おかずをいっぱい作るんだよ。だから。
おかずあるの？
With a smile that bordered on a cringe, I dodged her questions apologetically. But the feeling I tried to ignore began creeping up my back again. I spoke as if my mom was setting down dinner right now, but it didn't mesh well with what Rena was saying. Rena was talking as if she was aware of some obvious fact, and that I was aware of it as well.
ケイチ君もおかずとか作れるんだね。何を作ったのかな？
いや、別に俺が。
Rena had assumed out of nowhere that I had made the dishes. No, not so much that I had made them, but rather that my mom hadn't.
本当に作ったの？おかず、ケイチ君が？
だから、俺が作ったんじゃないよ。おふくろが作った。いや、作ってるんだよ。今。だからさ、悪いけど、レナの持ってきてくれたのは食べられないんだよ。
Rena fell silent at that moment. At that moment, I felt that the light suddenly disappeared from her eyes.
ケイチ君のお夕飯、当ててみようか？
なんだっていいじゃないか。
ね。
The conversation might appear natural at first glance, but Rena was firmly in control. It's like I was being interrogated.
そのお夕飯、
お湯だけで作れるんじゃないかな。
おいおい、侮るなよ。うちのお袋のスペシャルなディナーを認めるなってんだ。そりゃもう満館全席状態ですごいのなんの。
I tried my best to put on a strong front, but I couldn't grit my teeth quite right. So instead I looked like someone who was borderline hysterical. So I mean, to be fair, you kind of are. But Rena showed no reaction whatsoever, even to that silliness.
ケイチ君、本当にお母さん、ご飯作ってってくれたの？
いや、だから、くれたんじゃなくて、今作ってるんだよ。もうすぐ晩飯に。
Rena had taken that assertion of mine that my mother was home and making dinner right now, and was completely ignoring it. I could tell that the more I panicked, the colder Rena became.
ねえ、ケイチ君。
At that moment, an uncomfortable chill crept in from the gap in the doorway.
お母さん、お家にいるのかな？かな。
I couldn't keep up the charade anymore. Rena, she knew full well that my parents weren't home. But I'd come too far to admit that now. Anyway, my parents were here and we'd be having dinner soon. That was the situation I had concocted. So I answered. I told her she was here.
いるよ。もちろん。
I could feel the humidity drying out from the surrounding air. Rena's eyes were becoming more frigid, piercing me with their ghoulish stare.
どうして？
何のことかな。
I tried acting casual, but that facade was torn off me the instant I looked into Rena's eyes. That look informed me of Rena's response faster than she could open her mouth.
どうしてさっきから嘘をつくのかな？かな。
嘘なんか。
嘘だよね。
嘘なんかじゃ。
嘘だよ。
Rena's outburst sent a jolting surge through my body. She got so mad her art style changed. What the heck? Rena and I were still separated by a few inches that slightly ajar but still chained door could afford. But despite that, I was still being cornered. She was temporarily possessed by a different art style. My house, which I considered a safe haven until now, became more like a dark alleyway where no one could save me.
ケイチ君のお夕飯当てるよ。ね。
I knew now that Rena had already known that my parents would not be here tonight. It was still so strange that it had come to this. Even if she somehow knew my parents weren't home, there was no way she'd be able to guess what I'd be eating tonight. But Rena said she'd guess. How could she guess it? How could she know it was instant?
カップラーメン当たりでしょ？
That I was going to eat. Wait, the cooking repertoire of a man who can't do housework is probably nothing but cup noodles after all. Looking at it statistically, was the most probable answer. That didn't mean she was guessing.
ラーメンだけじゃきっとお腹すくと思うな。ご飯とかも一緒の方がきっと腹持ちいいと思うよ。
Calm down, Keiichi Mayabara. It was just coincidence. Rena was just reading certain tales of mine. So the fact she was inferring what I was thinking alarmed me. But it wasn't as if she was actually reading my mind. If it was being read, then she was a demon. No, not a demon. Things like that, they couldn't possibly exist.
好きなの？
ラーメンがかよ。
うん。豚骨生姜味。
Rena indicated that the point my answer was addressing was wrong. Her rebuttal was so short that I momentarily didn't understand the words Rena had spoken.
ごめん、レナ。今、なんて。
え？何が？
今さ、何が好きって聞いたんだよ。
It wasn't long before I regretted how carelessly I pushed forward with that question. It was a simple answer. It was why I wasn't able to comprehend it.
豚骨生姜味。
I wondered how I appeared in a moment my mind went completely blank, till the moment I was able to recover. So my field of view began to distort, slowly swirling in a counterclockwise direction. I lost all sense of balance. I didn't even deny it. That was the type of frenzy state I was in. How could Rena even know this? Not even caring as I masked my head against a door, I fixated my gaze on Rena. But she didn't even flinch when she saw me do that. How could you dodge the question at a time like this? The chain and the door suddenly were no longer protecting me. A shiver ran up my spine. I tried covering up with an angry facade. Oh, that's totally not ominous. Couldn't understand why she was saying she had been following me all this time. Like that night? That night I was absorbed in my phone conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't even sense her being there, standing behind the door. Behind me. Standing there, just like that. It's the most intense dialogue sequence about instant noodles I've ever seen. I know. It's so good. My brain was paralyzed, dulling my senses. It might have been a defense mechanism to diminish the fear I was feeling to non-traumatized levels. With the fear being diminished, the fog enveloping my mind was cleared away. Then I could understand what Rena was saying and started to put meaning behind her words. Even so, my fear hadn't subsided completely. It was like I was standing at the edge of a cliff, eyes closed so I didn't have to look down. It didn't actually solve any of the basic problems. I slowly took a step backwards. And as I withdrew, Rena advanced. Oh, the other model again, what the heck? Why'd we change art style? Why was the shake so funny? It's like someone grabbed her with their mouth, went on. You can't even see my mouse, can you? Can you? Is my mouse visible on stream? I can even tell. Oh my god, thank you for subscribing. Thank you, thank you. Rena's pale, slender fingers scraped through the crack in the door one at a time, as if they had a mind of their own, rattling a chain. Oh, you can't see my mouse, never mind. She unlatched the chain from the door. A feeling of terror would have just exploded within me. But Rena didn't do that. She was simply imploring me to remove the chain. I tried my hardest to light the fuse to the powder keg in my heart. Trying again and again. But it doesn't light. It doesn't light.
どうしてそんな意地悪を言うのかな
帰ってくれ。帰れよ。帰
A powder keg inside me finally went off. No smoldering, it just exploded. I tackled the door. The force of the door knocked Rena momentarily off balance. I couldn't hesitate here. I grabbed onto the doorknob with both hands, planted my feet firmly, and pulled with all my might. But the slamming sound I so desired didn't happen. I could feel a tiny, disturbing bit of resistance keeping the door from closing. And the source of that was Rena's fingers. Each of those fingers wriggling, squirming around like the tendrils of a carnivorous plant through the crack in the doorway. It wasn't a harsh shriek, more of a yelp she was trying to keep back. I kept on pulling on the door with all my might. Didn't even realize that if I didn't loosen my pull on the door, at least momentarily, Rena wouldn't be able to pull her fingers out, and that was why the door wasn't closing. I didn't care one bit for her apology. No matter how much she apologized, it didn't change any of what she had done up until now. It didn't change anything. Rena couldn't leave it if she wanted to because I trapped her fingers. Rena's white fingers had become deep red and were no longer even squirming. Rena's apologies were occasionally twisted with pain. Like a broken record, she was intent on repeating it over and over. Go away! Go away! Go away! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! I pulled on the door even harder. Finally, Rena's fingers were somehow able to slip out from the imprisonment in the doorway. The moment that happened, the doors closed soundly, and I could hear the thud of Rena falling on her butt on the other side. I unlocked the door immediately. It made a loud clunk, voicing my rejection to Rena. Rena leaned against the door, apologizing profusely and nothing else. After confirming that I was sufficiently sealed off from her, I trudged away from the entryway. On the other side, I could still hear Rena echoing her apology. I'm sorry, those pitiful words. They would be forever seeking my forgiveness. I didn't feel bad about this at all. That wasn't out of any sort of malice. I felt a sort of hazy sense of relief that I was able to escape from Rena. Before, Mila threatened me at this doorway, and there was nothing she didn't know. And just now, at the same place, Rena told me the same thing. My feeble attempts to disguise the fact that my parents weren't home had served no purpose from the start. I should have just pretended to be out and not even open the door. My meager plans hadn't helped at all. In Hinamizawa, it was impossible to outwit them. Even though I was on the other side of the door, I wanted to get as far away from Rena as possible. 1 step, 2 steps. With each one, her sniveling apologies became more distant. I sprinted up the stairs and dove into my room. As you would expect, I was finally no longer able to hear Rena repeating her endless apology. Diving into my bed, I was startled by the hard lump I felt. There was something in my bed. It was the receiver. I finally remembered. I was in the middle of a call with Oishi-san. Looking at the clock, apparently not much time had passed since I went downstairs. Could it be that my clock had run out of batteries? I had talked with Rena for so long, how did almost no time pass? While the hand on the clock was ticking forward 1 second every second as usual. As I put the still warm receiver to my ear, time, which felt frozen, began moving again.
もしもし、大石さん、お待たせしてすみませんでした。
いえいえ、大してお待ちしていませんよ。
It became apparent that the amount of time that had passed between myself and Oishi-san was different. Over the phone, I could hear an energetic voice. Oops.
レナが来ました。
An energetic voice from a sports program or something. It drove home just how far away Oishi-san really was.
遊びに来たんですか?
I wasn't confident that I could coherently explain the situation to Oishi-san. But I didn't need to right now. Right now I needed to know about Rena. That's right, I was planning to ask Oishi-san more about Rena. But Rena's little visit had interrupted the conversation. What was true and what was false, I couldn't tell. The one thing I knew was the single grim reality that Rena was suspicious. I might be able to figure out something if I asked Oishi-san about her. Up until now, I had regretted it whenever I forced myself to ask about things that I was better off not knowing. But looking at it that way, you could say I had hit rock bottom. There's no possible way I could feel any more regret than I did right now. No, rather I wanted to know if there was anything beyond this I would regret more. Forget about tomorrow. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility for something to happen tonight. I wanted to know everything I could. I was absolutely not going to die like this. Not without knowing anything. I definitely won't.
リュウグレナさんのことですか? 調べましたよ。まあ簡単には。
I understood that Oishi-san was talking in circles. A bit meant I dug so deep it'd be hard to discuss with you since you're her friend.
その簡単な全てを知りたいんです。
あなたが聞いて面白いような話はありませんよ。
大石さん。
I spoke as calmly as possible to Oishi-san, was continuing to avoid the issue. And then I said it.
リュウグレナは怪しいと思っています。過去の事件がたとえお社様のたたりによるものだったにせよ、リュウグレナは関わっています。
レナさんが怪しいと思える具体的な証拠があるのですか?
The manner in which Oishi-san spoke became very firm. Do you have some sort of proof? That was him talking as a detective.
状況証拠だけです。
そうですか。
I could tell even over the phone how disappointed Oishi-san was. Playing on a fishing line where he felt a bite only to reel in the bait. Disappointed but ready to cast the line once more, that's how it seemed.
大石さん、目に見える証拠がなければ動けないんですか?
What I meant was, you can't come and save me without proof? I stuck that barb in there. As Oishi-san loved roundabout ways of saying things, he understood me just fine.
大丈夫ですよ、前原さん。あなたは私が守ります。
That was not the least bit reassuring. Oishi-san was just using me to continue his investigation. I was just going to get killed, and my corpse would be an important piece of evidence. That was all I was to him.
大石さんの捜査は俺の生死と無関係でしょうが、俺は死ねば終わりなんです。
Oishi-san was silent on the other end of the line. That may have been too blunt, but I didn't care. All I needed to relay to Oishi-san was that I was currently in a very dangerous position.
だから話してください。 レナのこと。サトシは転校しました。多分俺もそれほど遠くない将来レナの言う転校をするでしょう。ですが大石さんには俺の死体を見つけることもできないでしょうね。現にサトシの死体だってまだ見つけられてない。
前原さん、どうか落ち着いて。
I was already suppressing my agitation even without Oishi-san having to tell me. I wouldn't solve anything if I continue to scream about my mistrust in the police. Seems that I can only depend on myself and the bat Satoshi left behind to protect myself. Then I at least wanted to know about what happened before Rena transferred schools.
つまらない話になるのは覚悟の上ですね。
Oishi-san, realizing my resolve couldn't be swayed, finally caved.
今の俺にとってつまらない話は何一つありません。お願いします。
まずいくつかお断りすることがあります。
はい。
他言無用でお願いします。また内容には一部憶測も含まれているかもしれません。すべてが真実ではないかもしれないということです。よろしいですね。
真実ではないかもしれない。言ってる意味がよくわかりません。
ひなみ沢の連続開始事件は捜査本部がありません。毎年の事件は個々に扱われています。ですから竜宮レナが捜査線に浮上したことは一度もないのです。つまりですね、
レナの調査は警察としてでなく個人として行ったということですか？
ご理解いただけて助かります。話のほとんどは電話もしくは会って聞かせてもらったものばかりです。ですから裏が取れていません。鵜呑みにしないでほしいということなんですよ。ご理解いただけますね。
全部聞いた話だけなんですか？
申し訳ないです。個人調査ですのでね。
あれ、以前レナのカルテを見たって言いませんでしたか？確かにそう聞きましたよ。
Oishi-san paused for a moment on the other end of the line.
そんなことも言いましたかね。気のせいということにしてください。
I didn't care about Oishi-san having certain obligations and responsibilities. I also didn't care if there was no proof. Even if they were just rumors, there's no smoke without fire after all.
話してください、大石さん。
わかりました。
Oishi-san finally opened those tight lips of his. It seemed that Rena lived in Hinamizawa a long time ago. She moved to Ibaraki Prefecture just before starting elementary school. Then, following that, right after transferring, the unfortunate incident with the breaking of the school windows happened. And Rena confided to the doctor. With Oyashiro-sama. That was everything I knew.
私が知る話も前原さんと大きくは変わりません。
では、どこを詳しく調べたんですか？
I didn't need to ask. The incident right before we transferred back to Hinamizawa.
レナが起こした事件とその後の医者での告白ですね。
はい。
大石さんはその内容を知っているからこそレナたちを疑っているんですね。
疑っています。
やはりレナたちが犯人。
いえ、疑うとはそういう意味ではないんです。
Wei-san was the type of person to say things with confidence. These particular words were less than reassuring.
じゃあ何を疑ってるんですか？
お社様ですよ。お社様のたたりって本当にあるのかな、なんてまあ。
Oishi is not a laughing matter. Keiichi is gonna hacking die. Oishi-san's laugh was quite dry, certainly not the kind that would make you want to join in. Oishi-san resumed the conversation about the dubious circumstances behind Satoshi's disappearance. The course of events leading him to delve into Rena's past. It was thunder with thunder in the distance, and a heavy rain started pouring down. Came without warning, a downpour fiercely beating the ground. I left a window in my room open a crack to let the heat out. The violent wind danced in my room, making the curtains flap wildly.
どうしました？
あ、いえ、急にすごい雨が。すみません。どうぞ続けてください。
I got up while still on the phone and grasped the window.
はじめに事件と申し上げましたが、学校側も被害者も告発していないので、正式には事件ではないのです。でですね、この辺りがどうも関係者皆さん口が重いんですよ。被害者の一人は片目に後遺症を残すぐらい殴られているのにもかかわらずです。学校側か、もしくは表沙汰になるのを望まない何者かがいろいろ根回しをしたのかもしれませんね。またカウンセリングを担当した神経科医も職業倫理に厳格な方で。もしもし、前原さん、聞こえてます？
It was the figure of a person standing by the light near the mailbox this whole time. Even in torrential rain, they didn't have an umbrella. They were unquestionably drenched from head to toe. In the shower, which more resembled a waterfall, droplets of water dripped down from her hair. Just standing there, both arms dangling at her side. In one hand was a stack of boxes wrapped in a cloth. Her eyes focused on my room, focused on me as I was about to close the window. Her mouth was methodically repeating a chewing motion. It was as if she had something hard to chew in her mouth, with her cheeks puffing out. What could she be eating over there? How could it be that at this time I was more enthralled by Rena than of shocking developments being brought to light by Oishi-san? If it hadn't started raining, I wouldn't have gone to the window. Then I wouldn't have noticed Rena, nor would I have noticed that. Rena's mouth was moving in the same pattern. She wasn't eating something, she was repeating something. What was it? Was she repeating? To me? What was she saying? And why was I, right up against the window, fixated on her?
もしもし、前原さん、聞こえてますか？もしもーし。
ごめんなさい。
前原さん。
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
もしもし、前原さん、どうしましたか？
Even in this torrential downpour, Rena was still apologizing. Aw, heck. Let herself inside me, drew the curtain hastily with my right hand, blocking my view of the outside. But even doing that, Rena's relentless apology still reached my ears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If I forgive you for this, will you forgive me for that? Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. Please stop. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. Damn it. Why should I have to forgive her? I'm the one who wants to be forgiven. What part of me can't you forgive? I won't be killed. If you won't forgive me, then I won't forgive you either. I won't forgive. 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 I won't forgive.
前原さん、聞こえてるなら返事をしてください。もしもーし。
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, we got new tips, let's go. Rain of apologies, falling on deaf ears, let's go. All the achievements are so good. Alright, let's review the tips. Split personality.
よく映画などに登場しますが、簡単に言うとどのようなものでしょうか。
複数の人格を持つことによる逃避と考えられています。
多重人格は逃避の一つなのですか？
さようです。そのメカニズムは完全には解明されていませんが、精神を守るために脳が行う防御行動の一つではないかと考えられています。
例えば貧乏な人がお金持ちになった自分を想像するという現実逃避ってありますよね。これも多重人格なわけですか？
極論はできませんが、講義的にはそう解釈できます。つまり
その現実逃避の見境がなくなると二重人格になるのですか？
ちょっと難しいですね。そう提唱する説もありますし、否定する説もあります。諸説紛々です。
では精神医学の世界ではまだ多重人格というのは未知の解明されていない現象なんですか？
残念ながらそうなります。今後の研究が期待されます。
でも二重人格なんてなんだかかっこいいですよね。どういう人が二重人格になれるんですか？
なれると言いますか、なりやすいと言いますか。最近の研究では遺伝と死因が複雑に絡み合い、中でも幼少期の育児体験が
そういえばこの A 君も家庭に問題を抱えてるんですよね。気の毒に。7つの人格を持つ青年 A。 では VTR の続きをどうぞ。ですがその前にコマーシャル。
Oh, what the heck? That was like a TV show playing. Okay, that was a bit of a weirder tip. But, you know, bear in mind, this is set in like the 80s. So, you know, very not the most accurate information regarding like what is now known as dissociative identity disorder. Not very accurate necessarily, but you know. I don't think it was intended to be. The Seventh Mart was a bargain supermarket with food and alcohol. What's this, Keiichi? So many. No reason to get all the different kinds, is there? I flopped all over the different colored cup noodle bowls into the cart.
最近のカップ麺は凝ってて種類も多いんだよ。どれも一通りは食ってみたいし。
I knew it was pretty selfish of me, but I thought I'd at least give it a try. Keiichi. Buy them in a big case, it's cheaper. Why is his mom not voice acted? Or his dad? Why are his parents not voice acted? I had a feeling it'd end up like this. Now that Dad had thrown his hat into the ring, I'd have to compromise.
それじゃあ一種類しか食えないよ。飽きちゃうって。
I was resisting as a formality. I'd already given up inside and wasn't sure which case of noodles to get. If you can't pick, then Mommy will pick for you. You don't have to rush me. I quickly searched the case of noodles for what I wanted. Pork bone and ginger, large cup. Hey Keiichi, can't you get a more normal one? I let Mom pick, so you'd err on the side of safety and get soy sauce or salt flavored. That's when I plunked a large box of pork bone flavor in the shopping cart. Mom looked back at me with an expression as if to say, these ones. Clunked. That's such a good word. I love clunked. To show her this was my last compromise, I began explaining the choice.
豚骨はうまいんだよ。大盛りだけど大味ってわけじゃないし。
I remembered insisting that the noodles I picked were the right kind. In this frozen memory in time, this encapsulated world, I didn't have the power to look around my surroundings. So I did what I could and reached out with my hearing and vision, sharpening my senses to find the presence I overlooked. No matter how much I searched through my field of vision, I couldn't see Rena. I rewound the situation, searching. But of course, I couldn't find her. Where's Rena? Then was he spying at me from my blind spot? I go through the sound and presences again, looking. I could sense the other customers. They were all mixed about, moving as they please. There was nobody looking over this way, and no one trying to get behind me. Not here. Couldn't be here. Probably wasn't here. I would definitely notice if someone was right behind me, even when I wasn't on my guard. I smiled wryly at the thought of using a vague word like probably right before contradicting it with definitely. Then I paused my mental replay as a chill ran down my spine. There was definitely a presence like a shadow behind me. That was a terror like any other, unlike any other. If a presence really had manifested behind me, I would definitely have turned around to check for it. But the world had moved on. There was no way for me to turn around. While carrying that frightening shadow on my back, I was gleefully running around the store searching for a case of noodles. Running through the instant noodle section, bad-mouthing my mom. But there was that presence constantly at my back, sticking to me like a shadow. No way to see what it was. No way to realize it now after the fact was horrifying and repulsive. In that moment of time, I was running around gleefully, carrying that cardboard box. Tip-tap. While listening to that moment again, I could hear footsteps other than mine going pit-pat with every step. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat. Tip-tap, tip-tap. Pit-pat, pit-pat. While I was running, the sound of those barefoot steps going pit-pat were right behind me. Me running around gleefully in that closed-off moment in time. But I didn't hear it. No, I heard it. That's why I remembered it. I didn't think I had heard anything. That's why I didn't turn around. This is why I didn't turn around. That moment in the pit-pat of those footsteps were following me the entire time. I couldn't run faster and escape. I couldn't run any faster than I had ran at that time. I couldn't turn around. I hadn't turned around before, not once. Then I returned to my parents and started talking. The shadow-like presence was right at my back. Since I didn't move, the shadow didn't move. That's why it made no sound. That was all. At that time, I hadn't taken a single step while talking with my parents. I was just standing there. This was undeniable. And yet, I heard it. A pit-pat. That shouldn't be. If I took 3 steps, it followed 3 steps. Wasn't that the rule? There was no sound other than that. At that time, the entire world had gone dark. A sudden darkness. It was the end of my reflective journey. I was tired. I wanted to end it. Someone turn on the light. Except my body couldn't move. If I was shown into that moment in time. Pit-pat. My past self's hair stood on end. It's impossible. And that's just breaking the rules. I haven't moved. So you shouldn't be moving either. I couldn't move. So you shouldn't be able to move either. Follow the rules. Pit-pat. And a shout echoed in the darkness once again. The hair on the back of my neck pricked up on end. It was so close, it was hard to tell whether it was touching the hair or not. Why couldn't I move? I thought a presence was moving behind me. I quickly realized I could move. It's just that I was scared and didn't want to. But now was the only time I could turn around. There was something unforgivable in this moment in time. But I knew that to turn around immediately. My entire being was trying to force me to stop, and to administer a pain-like needle being struck into my every pore. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. I'll turn around. I'll turn around. I'm not scared at all. A scream I was unable to vocalize. Ah! I turned around. At first I couldn't understand the meaning of it. What is this? This was a person's mouth might bite into an apple, slurped the juices, and finally discovered that it was an apple. My mind began to process the scene before my eyes by eating the apple. Munch, munch, chew, chew. Slurp the juices and discover the apple. Meaning, what was in front of me was... Ah! Dun dun. Alright, I actually, like I said before, I was thinking of making this stream a little bit shorter as my throat hurts a little bit this morning. So I think this is a safe place to stop for today. So a little bit shorter stream than usual. Sorry about that. But we still got through some fun content. Got through another one of my favorite scenes. So I think it's okay to go ahead and just save here. And we'll continue next week. We'll continue next week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys had fun. Ouch. Keep bumping my knee against my desk. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Again, I hope you guys had fun. If you enjoyed and you haven't already, please, of course, remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified when I go live next. Follow me on social media as well. I'm most active on Blue Sky and also on Instagram. And then of course you can also join my Discord server. Once more, for some reason, my Linktree is still not working. Linktree hates me. Well, I will give you a link to my Discord server in chat in just 1 second. Give me 1 second. Alright, if you want to join the Discord server, it's right here. It's a lot of fun, definitely. Would love to see some new friendly faces in the server. And yeah, I'll see you guys again very, very soon. We're gonna be doing some more Otome games in the coming days. Because we're still streaming for the Otome Games celebration. Got some fun, got another demo coming up as well as an already released game that I got the Steam key from. The Steam key for, sorry, I cannot talk. I am slowly dying. So yeah, if you want to see me play some more Otome games, you are in luck. More Otome game content is coming up very soon. The games I'm going to be playing look really fun, so I'm excited. But yeah, until then, hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day or night, wherever you are. And I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye bye. Bye bye.